Hey, what's up everyone? Matt Montanez here, and today I'm going to be talking about this bad boy here, the T-RackS soft clipper, and how dope of a plugin this is. I love it. I slap it on my master. Basically, one thing it really does really well is make things louder. If you're having trouble in making your mix louder, especially in the mastering phase, this is the guy to use. I have this record here called Chelsea, and it's by my artist, Black Adam. Super duper talented artist. We finished the record, so now it was time for me to master, and I just finished mastering it. I'm gonna bypass the plugin first and scoot a little ahead to get where the vocals come in. And here's without the plugin.
I've been wishing that, hoping this would pass, giving in to things I can't control.
And here's with the plugin on.
Hoping this would pass, giving in to things I can't control.
So it sounds beautiful. Not only does the plugin actually make it louder, but it gave it this nice harmonic saturation. It's very subtle, but if you listen to it closely, it gives it this nice, beautiful color and tone. And I love that about this plugin. Let's dive in here. On this plugin, it's very easy to use, right? You got three knobs. You got the gain, which is the input. You got your slope, which is like the hard and soft knee. And then you got your output, which is basically the makeup gain, but you want to balance that gain input and output. Let me explain what a soft clipper is actually doing. The soft clipper clips all those weird peaks that are going on. So it actually helps you tame peaks. Basically, you got a limiter, and your limiter, it's making sure those peaks don't actually pass the threshold. So it brings everything down and it like compresses it, attenuates it, it lowers the volume so those peaks don't pass that threshold. What the soft clipper is doing is if you got peaks going past this threshold here, it'll actually clip them off. It makes sure it sounds transparent where it doesn't sound distorted and stuff. But in digital, you can hear it a little bit more. This plugin does it really well where you don't hear it distort unless you push it really hard and you get that nice saturation. And that's why it has that cool saturation little light bulb there and it blinks at you. It's like, oh, we're saturating. I always come in first by setting my gain. Let me just put this back to 0. And then I'll put this back to 0. Oops. Actually, I could have just did this. Okay, so the slope goes to -6. So it's in between that hard knee and that soft knee. So, it's medium, I guess you can call it. So I always start off by pushing my gain. And the way I measure it is I bring out my meter and I make sure it's about where I want it to be at. And of course, you go to the loudest part of the song when you're doing this master. And then you want to push your gain, your input to, drive it a little bit and start getting that harmonic sound. So I like to go roughly about where I want the song to be as loud. So I bring up my meter at LUFS. And for me, I like to go roughly anywhere between -12 and -9.
To me, baby, you're all I wanna do. To me, baby, you're all I wanna do.
So I felt about 4.2 is really good when I originally came in, but I'm gonna push it a little bit harder right now, just because when you push it harder, you're able to hear the slope and exactly how comfortable you want it to be.
To me, baby, you're all I wanna do. To me, baby.
So I usually start off at a hard knee before I back off slowly to hear exactly what it's doing. And it's more of a feeling, I would say. And on that feeling, it sounds really cool. Like you'll be like, okay, that's the sweet spot.
To me, baby, you're all I wanna do. To me, baby, you're all I wanna do. To me, baby.
And right there sounds really, really good. So I'm gonna play it back and I'm just gonna bypass it.
To me, baby, you're all I wanna do.
And then, like I said, I pushed it a little further so I can hear that slope. So now I'm going to back off on that gain some. And the way I like to measure that is I like to bring in my limiter. And my limiter, I like to bring in this L2 and just to see a little attenuation on my limiter. I don't like to see a lot because then it's doing too much. So I just back off according to what my limiter looks like. And sounds like too, of course.
To me, baby, you're all I wanna do. To me, baby, you're all I wanna do.
And right there, you can see the attenuation right here. It's just going just a little bit, just a little peak. And those are those peaks from the snare, because basically those peaks are coming in the beginning of the instruments, like snare drums, kick drums, very crazy percussive, where it's going to be a crazy peak going, you know, a little out of control. And this really tames them to get a nice clean master. So like something you could do too is if you have snares going on or percussion, you can really use the soft clipper. It'll tame all those peaks and you can get a real nice punchy snare.
To me, baby, you're all I wanna do. To me, baby, you're all I.
And you can see my meter now here. It's bouncing between -9 and -10. So that's when I backed it up a little bit just to get a nice, even, clean tone.
To me, baby, you're all I wanna do.
And it sounds really clean, and I love it sounding like that. That's the soft clipper. Real easy to use. Like I said, you got 3 knobs. You got basically the knee, you got the input, and then you got the output to bring it down, and just make sure you're not going crazy with it. If you need things to sound louder, this is the guy to use it. If you need to control peaks, this is the guy to use. Basically, when I just have those out of control peaks, I throw this bad boy on, and it does make your masters a little more punchier, which is really, really dope too. And now, you know, I always get the question, you know, we're done with the song. Now what do? Do I just slap it up on SoundCloud or what? I get this question all the time because I work with a wide range of artists, from indie artists to major label artists, and even just the guys starting up. And they say, how do I get it up on Spotify? How do I get it up on Apple Music? And I'm gonna tell you that now. I love to use DistroKid. DistroKid is amazing. It's super easy to use, and it's probably the cheapest thing out there to distribute your music to all the stores. For everywhere it can get streamed. People can buy it in iTunes, if they still buy songs in iTunes, but it'll go in Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, Tidal, everywhere. Let me show you that now. So I bring up Safari and I go to distrokid.com. And so here's my account, and it's really dope. So I have 2 songs in here. My account, I have the label account, so I can add 5 or more artists, but it's really easy. You got your music, and here's your artist, and you just pretty much click upload, and you just follow the steps. So it shows all the stores here: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Amazon. Very dope. And then you can choose song. If it's a single, you can choose how many songs your album is. If it's been released before, you can click no or yes. You can write your artist or band name. So this is my artist, so I'm going to switch it to Black Adam. And then it searches Apple Music, see if there's an artist. And yes, we have released a song under him, so I can just click that's me because it's my artist. And then we can go from there. And the cool thing about this is that you'll actually get your verified check mark in Spotify. So that's super dope as well. Going through DistroKid, they'll get you that verified check mark. And let me show you that. So I'll go to Spotify. Here's a song that I released with my artist for Heart and Soul. And so we'll search them up real quick. Heart X Soul. And so here's Heart and Soul, and I click them. And we got it right here, that verified check mark. Super dope. But he released his previous song by